took the photo of Maite dancing for the cover of the Kama Sutra album. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh yeah, so Kama Sutra, that was an interesting time because that was actually a short little film that Prince had said I want to do. Yeah. And I had to kind of come up with ideas, I remember, and a treatment. So I had different ideas. So this was one of the times where I said, okay, A, B, or C. Mm-hmm. I can't remember whatever, but it was A, B, or C. Yeah. So I said, okay, we shoot Maite as an angel at Northrop Auditorium, where I danced at the Nutcracker. So I kind of thought, yeah, we could do this kind of weird angel thing where she's like urban to angel, and somehow I don't know what it was precisely. That's a long time ago.
That's on the university campus, right?
Mm-hmm. In North, yeah. Or B, I think B was, we did subsequently later, Maite as Matahari with a cougar, but that went later. Or C, some sort of semblance of like an old Busby Berkeley film with an elephant or whatever. I mean, how hard did I make it for myself anyway? You know what I mean? Because we had to
get an elephant
right. I'm like an idiot, right? But I was still gonna do it, whatever. So I mean, during the day he'd be like, I would get the circle, so I'd fax it up to his office, which was right above my office. Do you want A, B, or C? He'd circle one, nothing else, circle it, send it back. So he chose on that particular moment, whatever it was, A, B, or C, I think it was probably A. Maite as an angel, Northrop Auditorium dancing and, showing her beauty. And so we, I think it was, what's his name? Oh, what's that dude's name? He was the DP on, that video we did, Most Beautiful Girl in the World film that Antoine Fuqua directed, and he was the DP for, and he was kind of friendly with me. He was brought in to do it, so I was helping him. He was the main guy directing it, and so that's how it came about. So she, did that, and so that was just shooting stills on the video, but it just showed her, I don't think people understood how amazing she was, and like how she's a truly classically trained ballet dancer, and then to still have that and be on point, and to have that extension, and it was a dream. I was like, oh my God, it was a dream. So that came from just having done that weird film that nobody might not ever see. It involved feathers. I remember my mom helped made that thing, and I don't know. That was a beautiful time though.
Morris has talked to us about, and a few people that have talked about it, but specifically we went into it, and when we interviewed Morris, was that Prince his mood would change so often, and Morris said that he learned to just come in and not say anything and wait for Prince to talk, and then he would know what mood he was going to be in, whether he was going to be in like a more friendly mood and it was going to be like a smooth day, or whether he was just in for the kill and somebody was going to get it that day. How did that affect like you being able to do your job, and if sometimes the atmosphere was quite tense because he'd be like having a go at somebody or something like that?
That's interesting, because I'm always reticent to talk about that, because you just want to remember, like, thank you. But there were times like that, and, if we're honest, everybody can, in the camp, and, we knew he wasn't, nobody's ever perfect, we're all human. And he did have that propensity to really shock you. You'd have he'd be like, I want to do a video. So you'd be like, okay, yes, we're doing it. And you'd prepare, and it was like hardcore union members in Minnesota, they'd been working on major, so you'd be waiting around, and then 3 a.m, he'd turn up, and finally he's there, and he'd just come over and say, are you on lithium? And like, well, we've been waiting for you for like 12 hours, and that's what I get, and then you just walk off. So you're like, okay, so does that mean we're not doing the video? And guys, they're charging an hour and a half, So at times it did drive me crazy. It challenged me to an inch of my life, It's like, it hurt, but I also I had to kind of say, well, okay, I can't take this too personally. But at times I was very down about it. And, but it's like, if you can get through that, You can get through anything. So, and as Prince, you allow these allowances for him. You're like, you know what? I love you no matter what. Still, tomorrow when you say jump, I'll still say how high. You know. So you don't begrudge him of it too long because it's his place. So fair play. So, but I don't know. It did affect me. I remember one time I decided I'd had enough, and I I said I'm leaving, and I went home, and I'm telling too much now, but it was exciting. Something good came out of it, and he felt bad, and he apologized, and I got a big check, and that's how I got my camera, and I was able to. So in the end, it worked out okay. But he always had a good heart.
So you shot photos on the set for the video of Ray. Do you remember anything about that, and what was it like?
That was one of the first shoots I ever did of them. And that's when I said, I'm going to get like however many Gerber daisies. It was very trendy at the time, the kind of 90s thing. You remember that?
It's back now, so.
Is it? Yeah. That's just how old I am. It's like so old, it's back again. I could just copy myself now and make me trendy again. But I remember that very much. And then I was very excited to get all this. And it was playful, and they were totally up for direction. It was like, I felt like so happy to be, I was so scared, but I thought I had to just do it. Like I said before, it was like I was literally just thrown into the deep end, and I just had to come up with the goods, and they were all just staring at me, And no, Prince wasn't, he was just like, what are you going to do now? I'm like, okay, everybody get on the floor, start throwing some daisies around. And then Paris Patton, he was at the guy who was doing all the filming and everything. He came in and started filming it. So he was the one that filmed it all. And sometimes we'd work together, and he'd be like, okay, now it's Paris's time. Get the hell out of the way. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So that was nice. But that was a good shoot. That was really fun. Nice. But the one thing that I could say is like the red and white balloon one. You never saw that because the first week I was shooting them, this was one of the red and white scenarios. Right. And a white backdrop, and I said, everybody wear red and white. Mm-hmm. We had all these balloons. I'm like, unleash the balloons. Everybody quick, because they're all changing. I'm like, come on, everybody. And, like 2 foot, 3 foot, 5 foot, big, huge balloons. And so when they came on, and then we turned up the music, and I think we started without the balloons. Right. I think that's what happened. God, I wish I could remember. And they were all very stagnant, cool, And then I'm like, screw this, unleash the balloons. And the balloons came, and then it was like the catalyst to kind of make the best shoot, one of my favorite shoots ever, because everybody just went crazy. It was like the most fun. The balloons didn't last more than 30 seconds. But those 30 seconds, I'll never forget that moment where everybody was just going crazy. It was like, just losing it. It was such a beautiful experience. And then, of course, all the balloons were popping, and it was crazy. And it was like, and the music was so loud, and it was utter chaos, but it was like the best time. And then, unfortunately, where are those pictures with all the balloons? But people still see the aftermath, a little bit of the, I don't know if you ever saw those. People were still going, Maite and Sonny and Morris. He grabbed a broom and he was starting to pretend. And it was like crazy. It was like, just go crazy. It was the best.
Prince recorded every year like so many songs, like dozens and dozens and dozens of songs, and only a fraction of them ever got released. Do you ever remember like a song playing while you were shooting, or like over and over again, or something that he seemed like he was really proud of or wanted to do something with, and then that song just like never came out?
I'm sure there was. And similarly with the videos that we'd done and the photos. So there was a correlation between that. Most of the stuff that I, shot, nobody will ever see, or maybe they will, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I think similarly it's the same. I remember I wasn't able to hear much new stuff probably, so I wasn't privy to that probably, but But then I don't, I can't say too much.
You shot the album cover for 1-800-NEWFUNK, which we have a massive poster of, which is awesome. So we always look at you.
We'll show you a photo of it on our wall.
Yeah, we will. So tell us a little bit more about shooting that album cover, because it's really cool how like the people are shown, how they're like standing in different ways and the clothing and stuff. Yeah,
that was cool. Because it was during the time, before digital, where anything you can just like fake, So we did it like proper old school. So this is fun. We literally made up the 1-800-NEWFUNK in like large, we made that, and then Jeff Munson was very much part of that.
Right.
Thank you, Jeff. He's awesome. He was the art director alongside Steve Park at the time. I don't know how that worked out. I don't know. And then I'm in the middle going, I don't know, you guys. But that was one thing that I thought was nice. Nobody touched it too much. Sorry. We hung it up with fishing line, and then we got a bunch of the people. And Leanne Dosher in the wardrobe department, I said, I need a lot of, looking at it now, it's quite scandalous in a way. I'm like, I need just a lot of crazy, skimpy, black, whatever. And I had my mom help too. She helped style it because we had little time. So I had Leanne and Helen and my mom. The three of them styled that. And we set it up one by one. So we'd put one letter on, and then we'd work out the pose with the model, and then the 8, and it just worked.
Wait, so they were actually standing around?
Standing around, yeah.
Wow.
And then Jeff took it and just put it all together.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
So, yeah, it was awesome. I loved that shoot. It was good. And the models were so fun. One of them wasn't so nice, but I won't say names. She's like, if you don't make me look good, I'm going to tell Prince. And I'm like, you...
Whatever.
I'm like, I want to make you look good. I'm here for you.
That's my job.
Right? I'm not going to try to make you look like an asshole. Jeez.
Of all of the photos that you took of Prince, whether it's ones that the public have seen or not, is there one that you would pick as your favorite?
Oh, gosh, that's a tough one. Because I still think, I don't remember a lot, but I remember the experiences. So again, if I could go back and look, I would. But I think for me, just the one that maybe someone has seen is him in his, on his balcony. It is in his hotel suite at the Ritz overlooking Central Park in New York City, where it was just kind of natural. And the story behind it as well is crazy.
The long, full length, outfit,
the robe
like
thing,
that.
and Leanne and I had actually, I might not be correct in this, but I pretty much remember Leanne and I, the wardrobe, she was a friend of mine, we were in Paris, and we spent a day. She said, will you accompany me? I have to go shopping for him. So we were in the car, and we went out shopping, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the outfits we bought. And so, but that's not the point. The point is that the image, it just felt pure, and it was nice because it was one of the rare opportunities I was able to shoot him outside, and it was just a moment. It was a very not contrived moment, and it just happened, and he always knew perfectly what to do, and it was nice. And leading up to that, the story is a whole nother crazy story, but I got the shot, so I think that one.
What was it like to go on tour with Prince?
Thinking about like all the feelings, all the colors of the rainbow. Exciting, jubilous, terrifying, just total fear, but it was beautiful. It was like very adrenalizing, and to be a part of that and to feel like, you're part of it. So as a group, you're traveling, and so to kind of feel like that camaraderie with the, to be a part of that. But it was relentless. It was nonstop, and I was young. I was up for it. I didn't care. We'd go, we'd do the thing and the rehearsal and the gig and the after gig and the after gig and the after every day, and then the party, and then Maite would go like, hey, we're up now. So we'd go, like, the sunrise is happening. I'm like, get dressed. And then we'd go out and hit the beach and shoot it. It was just, I don't know how we had the energy, but it was amazing. Being on tour was also really tricky because you're there trying to separate yourself from the man who's performing and not to get too engrossed in it because, you know, I had to constantly go, come on, get yourself together, be the, you know, because I'd just be like in awe of him, on, you know, him performing, there's nothing like it. And then to see him in the different venues and then the small venues where you're feeling the electric energy and the intimate and the sweaty and the dark, and it was just magnificent. So the one thing I regret about being on tour is that the next day he'd say, did you get the shot? And I'd be like, no. The shot was that he would do the shot where he would stage dive. So every time, you know, the big shot that I had to get was him stage diving. Yeah. And for some reason, every time he'd go for the big money shot, my camera would just freeze. And I thought, why, you know? Yeah. So finally he'd be like, Nicole, when I take my belt off, you know, so he would give me fair warning. He's like, so that's him taking the belt off. And Maite too, she had amazing stage dives. I caught her a few times too, but took the belt off thing. One time I got the stage shot was at a very small venue in Monte Carlo where everybody was very posh. Instead of, you know, the sea parted. They're like, oh no. Boom. Oh, God. So, you know, I had that every day on tour going, I didn't get the shot, you know. So but that was just a side silly, frivolous note. But to this day, I still think, why couldn't I get the shot, you know? And on tour, we were, you know, I was on my own, and the band were the band, and people often didn't know who I was, even though I had like 5 million passes with my photo on it and blah, blah, blah.
Like, it's me.
Hello.
I'm with them.
But the people would come over and like kick me out of the venue. Oh, really? In Berlin one time, they couldn't believe that I was the photographer. They physically kicked me out and chucked me outside. And I'm like, guys, for some reason, there were no female security guards. So prior to that, they said, Nicole, we need you to pat down all the people going in to check all the female people. So I had already done that, done my due diligence, and then 2 hours later, I'm literally being kicked out. Like, crazy. So then I'm up against like a chain link fence in Germany. You know, people in Berlin, they're crazy fans. And I was being pushed against a fence, camera's gone, you know. So it was trying. It was very, very trying.
We've seen online that you are working on a book that's going to have your photos of Prince and stories about Prince. And what can you tell us? What can you tell the fans about the book and when it's going to be coming out?
Well, that's a very good question. I wish I had the answer to that. I don't have specific answers, but I do have a very good publisher who's very interested. And so I just need to kind of make sure I have, you know, figure out how to do it in the right way. But I know I have... I've got something great if we do. So it might be in the next 6 months, but it might be up to a year. But I wouldn't say any longer than that.
What would you say is the number one thing that you learned from working with Prince, and something that you always stuck with you for like the rest of your career from there on?
Well, I guess the first most obvious thing was just his sheer work ethic. The man was, you know, disciplined, and he never stopped working. And so I think after you have had that experience, you know, because I've started that with that, and then by default everybody else or everything else just seems kind of by comparative light very easy, and so, or lazy. I was kidding. He was work, you know, and I loved it. That kind of, you know, that nonstop, it adrenalizes you, and it inspired me to push for myself too, you know, to kind of say, how can I challenge myself creatively as a potential photographer / artist at that time, so. And then also, I think just the importance of being true to yourself, you know, and not trying to be reactionary and follow whatever you think you're supposed to be doing. Because often people say, you know, this is what you should be doing. This is what's going to get you money or success or fame, or follow the trends. And no, absolutely don't do that. Just do whatever it is you feel, you know, and not even be concerned about that. And then also to fight for what you believe in, and not just bow down to, you know, whatever people tell you, as you know. So I think he taught me that. I'm still learning it, but I think he helped me in that way, a lot of ways. So.
When was the last time that you saw him or spoke to him?
It was weird because I had been gone for quite a long time, and I had, you know, I never stopped thinking about him. And at some points even I was thinking, gosh, you know, because I'm a photographer still, and sometimes, you know, the freelance up and down, and I always thought, wouldn't it be nice just to get a call, you know, and just go back into that beautiful bubble and just be there, you know. It was like this weird thing. And then out of the blue, I got a call from this agent at the time in LA saying, Prince has contacted us. And I thought, why didn't he wants you to come back and shoot. And so then I got these emails, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, are you kidding? And I was so excited. It was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's amazing. I thought, what an amazing, you know, thing that, you know, after all this time, because I had so many disparate thoughts about how it ended and how I didn't get to say, you know, just to kind of work with him as more of an equal after I'd done a bit more and had the more confidence to, I just thought, wouldn't it be nice if I could go back and, you know, be a bit older and wiser and more experienced and do some magic, and do something really special with him, maybe, you know. And so I had this potential opportunity, and so I went back, and then I waited around. They said, well, you know, we'll call you when he's ready. The only thing we can tell you is that he wants to do a shoot, and the theme is pirates. I'm like, right, okay. It just brought me right back to 1990, whatever, 5. I'm like, oh, nothing has changed. I have one word and I've got to figure it out. So I spent the next month making mood boards of what I envisaged to do this shoot on pirates. And I thought, well, maybe it involves the Third Eye Girl, and maybe it's just him, but I accounted for all of it. And it went on and on and on, and they'd call and say, I'm not ready yet, but we'll let you know. And then finally she said, we just go back to London, do your work, and then when he's ready, we'll fly you out from wherever you are in the world. And in the meantime, I was invited to one of the parties, and so they said, come down, he's having a party. And this is kind of sad because everybody says, oh yeah, regrets, but I went to the party, and he was there very briefly, and it was a large party on the soundstage, and I was so excited to be back, and it had, you know, it just brought back so many memories. And I saw him, and I waved to him, and he looked at me, and we waved. And for some reason, I just thought, now's not the time to go. And why didn't I? It was like I was back to 22 years old and afraid to just, I thought, when the time's right, we'll talk. But at this party, and I didn't actually go up there and talk to him. We just waved to each other. And I thought, well, we'll figure it out, you know, in the coming weeks. And that was it. And then they said, you know, go home. And I think they told me to go home. And then I went home. And then he passed away like 5-6 months later. And I feel really sad that I wasn't able to say, you know, just thank you, that kind of thing.
I think that's a good place for us to wrap it up. And yeah, but thank you so much, Nicole, for joining us. This has been a phenomenal interview. I hope you've all enjoyed this latest episode of Uncovering Prince. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Make sure you like and leave a comment on this video and tell us what you thought. Tell us if you're looking forward to Nicole's book coming out, and we'll catch you next time for some more Uncovering Prince. Bye.
Hi, I'm Elisa Fiorillo, and you're watching The Violet Reality on YouTube. All things Prince.